one of the many things that's so beautiful about Esalen is that there's such a fantastically safe container for sharing and breaking down and being just entirely authentic. What I've seen in the 3 weeks that I've been here is every single person in my cohort, like confronting stuff that has been going on in their lives and really like facing them. And a lot of what comes up in these check-ins, that just start with a, how's it going? But it's not just a, how's it going? But it's really like, no, how you doing? A whole nother level of how you doing.
Welcome to Voices of Esalen. I'm Sam Stern. Today we have a special episode for you, one that I'm truly excited to share. We're going to bring you something unique and powerful, I hope, an Esalen check-in. This practice is rooted in the Gestalt therapy that evolved at Esalen over the past 6 decades, and it has become a cornerstone, really, of the Esalen experience. Some people describe it as a catalyst for self-awareness, for connection, for personal growth, and I have to say that I would agree. Today's check-in features an incredible group of people who I'm fortunate to work alongside at Esalen. These are the staff members, Nani Almanza, Jess Siller, Alex Shepard, and Shira Levine, as well as Faith Blakeney, a participant in the LEEP residential program. I also joined in this process because there's nothing I love more than a check-in. So what you're about to hear is real. It's authentic, it's unscripted, and while our participants were aware of being recorded, I feel that what came out was truly from the heart. And I've made every effort to preserve the intimacy and the rawness of the experience with only minimal editing. This episode really offers what I think of as a rare glimpse into the heart of what makes Esalen special. This is kind of the secret sauce, This is the open, honest sharing that forms the foundation for personal transformation. I begin this episode by offering a brief and somewhat incomplete history of the Esalen check-in. Then we dive into the check-in itself. So I invite you to listen with an open heart, an open mind, as we explore this fundamental Esalen practice together. When Esalen came into existence in the early 1960s, it became, right off the bat, kind of a playground or a birthplace for humanistic psychology. And so one kind of outgrowth of humanistic psychology was Gestalt awareness practice, where people were sitting around in groups and in tandem, having experiences and sharing them with one another. The element of sharing them with one another is really crucial because to that point, psychology had kind of been dominated by 2 streams, really, and one being behaviorism and the other being psychoanalysis. And both of those streams of work were really influential and great, but both of them were kind of rigid and both of them were closed practices and both of them were highly individualistic. And then what we see with humanistic psychology blossoming at Esalen and beyond is that the power of the group really got brought into focus, and the idea of using the power of multiple awarenesses to help the person who was kind of the focus of attention at that point became really evident. If the 1950s was really characterized by repression and tamping down of the self, the 1960s became this period of catharsis and of expression, of self-enactment and self-revelation. And that's what kind of popularized Esalen. And people flocked to come to this place where they could reveal themselves and not only do that within the confines of a one-on-one psychology session, but do it in a semi-public format with a small group of trusted individuals who they created a bond with. And from that practice of Gestalt work at Esalen, the Esalen check-in was born. And that became something that would happen in a more informal way across the Institute. So it would happen in various departments. The kitchen would get together and do check-in every day. The cabins would get together and do check-in, and they still do. Mm-hmm. And so, this is our nod to that.
Hi, my name is Nani. I am on staff here at Esalen. I've been here for about 3 years. I work down in the most gorgeous place at the Bats, the healing arts manager, and I'm doing really good today. I actually have something really beautiful to share for my check-in because it's like a marker of how much I've grown since moving here. Over my little weekend, I ran into my ex, like the ex, and struck up a conversation, like zero animosity, that it still kind of like lives in my veins and floats around. But I was able to push all that aside and just like have a genuine, fun conversation and see him for the human that he is, and like feel that myself, like we're just growing. We're all just doing our best. And I walked away from that like quick conversation just feeling like $1,000,000, just like, wow, like me a few years ago before Esalen, like would have been like ducking for cover, like running away, like shooting like, glances at this person, like, Argh. But yeah, so it just felt like a huge marker for growth for me. And so I was just like, wow, I can like live in peace with this person and maybe even be friends with this person. And that felt so good. And it just kind of like was such a beautiful moment for me. And all the things that I've learned since I've been here, including check-ins, checking in with myself before taking that moment to like say, you know what, I'm going to go say hi. So that was really cool. Yeah. So naturally, I'm just a totally different person today. I'm just kidding. So yeah, it feels really good. And that's kind of like a nice idea of like where I'm at. I recently did a water fast for 14 days. I just came off of it about 7 days ago, and that was also a really enriching experience because it helped me go really deep into my spirituality and find like my center of like how I connect to spirit. Yeah, I'm still riding that like gorgeous wave, and I'm feeling that a lot. And today I'm actually doing another quick fast. I'm going to fast for another 36 hours. So I'm just kind of like on this like beautiful spiritual kick. And then with what happened over the weekend, I'm just like, my chakras are all aligned. But yeah, I feel good. And I think that's what I'll share for now.
Hi, I'm Alex Shepard. I've been here for 3 years, and that's been a roller coaster. A learning, very knowledgeable and lesson-filled roller coaster. And started out cooking. About to transition to healing arts as a massage therapist, so a career change after doing a career for about 15 years. And that feels crazy. And it feels so good. Because, doing fine dining for any amount of time, honestly, is some soul-crushing work. And I don't know how people stay in the industry for as long as they do. Yeah, the societal norms of people being like, you're supposed to work 60 hours in a week and not go home and get barely paid, and no one's really going to thank you for this art that you're making, essentially. And it becomes a norm, and then burnout happens. So I got burned out, and I was like, it's time to do something else, and I didn't know what that looked like yet. So I had a beautiful mentor in Florida, and he was like, you should probably go back home, since I was born in California but never spent time here, mostly raised in Florida. So I go on Craigslist and I type in California housing jobs, that exact thing, into the key search, and the first thing that comes up is like the most campy advertisement I've ever seen on Craigslist. And it was like, do you want to change the world? And I'm like, hell yeah, I want to change the world. So I do the thing and I send the application to this place that's called Esalen. And I'm like, whatever, they're never going to call me back. And then 2 weeks later, I was here. And had no clue what this place was. Like, I thought it was like hippie Hogwarts, you know, like from the outside. That's what it looks like. And to get in, and obviously once you're here, you got to do some research and find out what the hell it is. And you find all these intellectuals came here, and it was like this hot spot for, you know, exactly what you were saying, Sam, humanistic growth and what is the potential of humanality. And I was like, oh, I think I was supposed to land here. And yeah, to grow with this community and cook for this community, and then realize, like, I don't want to do this. Even here in Paradise, I don't want to cook for this community. Love this community, but I'm done with this. And then Esalen Massage showed up out of nowhere. And that, like, I didn't even plan for that to happen. It was like leaning into a fear, right? I didn't like the idea of intimacy or touch or being seen, really. And I was like, let's dive into this. We're here at Esalen, right? Like, this is what it's for. Let's jump into it. Not only the guests can have this, I can have this too. And I did, and it was incredibly transformative. Yeah. Found a whole new passion for, like, life, love, art. Like, it's a mind-blowing concept, honestly. And to find it in, like, massage of all places. So it's going great. As for the check-in, I'm also doing fantastic. Yeah, with this new shift, it's like a rebirthing of self. And I get to give birth to, like, this new Alex. And we don't know what that looks like yet. And there's, like, a lot of excitement in that. And, like, how rapid fire everything is kind of just falling into my life. All the things that are happening. From, like, these things that were dreams once upon a time to them being, like, actual reality. Tangible reality. And to do it here is massage mecca, essentially. So it's like, it's like pinch me every day, you know? Still waiting on the backdrop of that gorgeous ocean to glitch out. But it's not happening yet, so.
I'm Shira Levine, and I am the Director of Communications and Storytelling. This is an incredibly challenging thing for me to do. I am really used to feeling vulnerable to myself and not necessarily sharing my vulnerability. Yeah, I'm somebody who tends to avoid myself and worry more about what other people are feeling and thinking. So working here and practicing or attempting to practice the Esalen check-in has been incredibly eye-opening and challenging, feeling into my body, pausing, you know, really checking in. I realized, especially when I started a little over 2 years ago, how disconnected my head and my body are. And it's really easy for me to just kind of, you know, drift off and float away in my head and edit and self-edit and, you know, start writing in my mind what I'm going to say. And even in the process of me worrying about what everyone else thinks or is doing and how they're feeling, I'm inadvertently only thinking about myself during somebody else's share, which was something I experienced, you know, initially at Esalen. So how am I feeling today? I mean, I'm feeling good. It's nice to be here. I am a hybrid worker, so I live in Los Angeles and I come to Esalen every few months, and I get to go from working from home to being around a ton of people and interacting with them, getting to know them, and just being incredibly social. I was sharing earlier with Sam that I had a therapy session yesterday where my therapist introduced the idea that I am an introvert who's overcompensating for wanting more positive attention. That just blew me away. But I feel like the second half is definitely true. But I am very much an extrovert. I get totally energized by people, which is why I really like coming here and interacting. But it also again highlights to me how much I'm able to avoid myself by being with others. And this trip, being here this time, I'm really focusing on trying to feel into both of those things. And I've been much more grounded into my body the last month because I have an injury. So I'm very aware of kind of every step I take, how I move, because I guess pain kind of brings the mind and the body together. Today, I'm feeling less of the pain. I'm feeling good to be here. I'm feeling vulnerable sharing like this. I'm feeling vulnerable about meandering. I think there's a tremendous irony in being the director of communications and storytelling and liking to ask questions and listen to people's stories, but finding it challenging to take the space myself. So, yeah, that's me.
So my name is Faith Blakeney, and I'm in the LEEP program. We're in the end of our third week. My God, actually, it's, the beginning of our last week here. It's a month-long program. And yesterday we had a check-in for a course that's 3 hours long with Sadia, and she was going to guide us in breath work and yoga. And we sat down, and she said, I'm sensing we need a real proper check-in. And she just intuited it. And we literally spent the entire 3 hours doing a check-in. And I think at least 4 people in our cohort of 16 broke down into tears. And it was like, you could just see how extraordinarily therapeutic that check-in was. It was a group therapy session, and some of our check-ins have been 2 seconds. I'm good. Oh, I love being on the farm today. And then there are these check-ins that literally feel like they're why we're here. It's really not just a, hey, how you doing? Or, do you still have a headache? It's, how's your heart? Like, let's really get in there. And I think that what's so beautiful about, one of the many things that's so beautiful about Esalen is that there's such a fantastically safe container for sharing and self-expression and breaking down and being just entirely authentic. And so I think in that space, what I've seen in the 3 weeks that I've been here is every single person in my cohort, like, confronting stuff that has been going on in their lives, circumstances or internal, struggles, and really like facing them. And a lot of what comes up in these check-ins, that just start with a, how's it going? But it's not just a, how's it going? Because how many times have we been asked, hey, how you doing? And just like, good. But it's really like, no, how you doing? A whole nother level of how you doing. Yeah. So how am I doing? I'm doing extraordinarily well. I woke up this morning and we, in the LEEP program, get to be on the farm 6 days a week in the morning, and it's a rainy day. And so the plan was that we weren't going to actually do a check-in, or we were going to postpone it until the end. We were all going to meet at the lodge, and instead of doing a check-in, we were going to run to the farm and we were going to plant kale. And that was our mission. And so we ran. It was raining, and we all just like got together and got on this mission. I don't know that any of us have ever farmed before, maybe one of us in our cohort, but everybody's so into it. And so we spent the morning planting kale in the rain and got it done and ran to the baths. And Esalen's been also a fantastic place to practice following my bliss. So I followed my bliss to the baths, and then I followed my bliss to the lodge for lunch. And yeah, I'm having certainly one of the most beautiful experiences of my life here at Esalen. Yeah, I'm like getting what I came for and then some. So I'm extremely grateful. Yeah, I'm extremely grateful. I came at this funny time in my life. I'm a mother, and I have an almost 18-year-old. She's a rising senior. And for the past couple years, I've been feeling not entirely satisfied with my work, feeling called to work in the healing space and not knowing what that looks like. and feeling called to leave Los Angeles, where I raised my daughter. 3 weeks before I came to this program, I sold most all of my worldly possessions, like every single piece of furniture that I had in my house. And I'm an interior designer, so that was a big deal. And decided to let go of my apartment and come here. And people thought I was crazy. They're like, you're not 25, you're 47 and you're a mother. Like, what are you doing? And I got here and there were literally 4 people in my cohort that did the exact same. Let go of all their stuff and like came here. And we're sitting at the table the first night. And people are like, oh, what are you here? You know, what are you here for? What's your intention? And where are you from? And this, that, and the other. And it very quickly started to become clear. It was kind of like, what's your flavor of midlife crisis? Well, mine is like everybody. Exactly. It's like everybody's here in these, you know, big transitions in their lives. I mean, and some of us are 19 and some of us are 60, but still it's like, you know, we're all in a space of questioning and seeking and curious and knowing there's something bigger out there for us, and have arrived here on these amazing healing lands to really like take a deep dive. And it's been, yeah, an absolutely glorious deep dive. So, in short, I'm good. Thanks for asking.
I'm Sam Stern. I've worked here for a decade now, and I'm 47. Recently, lots of thoughts about just like, is this who I am? You know, you get to that point in your life where it's like, well, I have all this data to show that this is what I do and how I do it, and it's not the same as when I was 25 years old and I could imagine that like I'm going to change myself and become this thing and some idealized version of whether it was a filmmaker or a writer or something like that, whatever I wanted to be, or just like a great guy. Like I'm kind of a, you know, I can see I'm a selfish asshole right now, but I know there's a chance that I can develop and become like this guy who everybody likes. But now it's like, I'm at least at the midpoint of my life, something like that. So yeah, there are things that I don't like about myself, and I have fears that it's just going to be like this, and I'm going to be this stuck person. And I've been good about really, I had, you know, a long period of embracing my shadow and everything like that. And you know, there's positives and negatives to that, and yeah, I want to be in a place where I can feel like I could just feel, mobile and different and nimble and open to change. And then the fear part of me is like, no, you're this amalgamation of everything that you've been, which is, you know, some of that I'm not that fond of. And I'm working with a coach right now, this woman, Shauna, who works here at Esalen, she's brilliant. I brought this problem that I have to our coaching sessions, which is that I've often gotten really excited about projects and then let them die or just withdrew from them. And I really see that it's my Achilles heel as a creative person. And it's like such a bad habit, but I somehow can't stop doing it. Or I keep seeing, you know, instances where it happens. And so she's trying to help me reframe this concept. Like she like helped me boil it down to the core feeling that I have that's nagging at me, which is I don't complete projects, and then try to spin it and propose to myself the opposite. And we came up with 3 statements. One was that I can and do complete projects. And then the next one was projects complete me. And the next one was, I am a project. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I like these. Mm-hmm. So now that's what sent me to the dollar store to go get some foam core so I could create a vision board, because I want to put those words on a vision board.
Yeah. It's beautiful reframing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just, I want to be in this space where like everything is possible, you know, and nothing's concrete. Nothing's set in stone because this is the way that I have been. There's this guy, his name is Bill Simmons, and he's always talking about like, well, at a certain point, like you are who you are. because he's talking about like trajectory of like a pitcher's career or something like that. And it's like, well, you're in your 19th year as a pitcher and you've always, you've had this level of accuracy. Are you going to be an all-star? Are you really going to do this? And it's like those words kind of like ring in my head. And for whatever reason, I want to do more and achieve more and, be more and be the type of person who, when I die, people will like come to my funeral and be like, hey, he was like this, he did this one special thing for me. And Esalen is a great place for all that. It's probably as good a place within the system of capitalism that we have for going and working and also having this growth idea built into who we are. So I relish that. And I really relish this this ability to speak and have this like daily minutia, the mundane aspects of my chattering mind have like audience or people receiving it and taking it seriously. There's like, apart from ChatGPT, no one will listen to me. But it's like this built-in thing where people will listen to you. And for that moment, it kind of just satisfies me as a person.
Thank you. My name is Jess. I have been at Esalen for a little over 3 years now. I have the privilege of managing our cabins department, which for those of you who do not know, it stands for Conscious Aware Beings in Service. And yeah, it's a great honor to hold that space for people. So yeah, checking in with my body. I feel my heart beating. I could feel it beating against my chest. And I feel warmth coming up my chest into my neck. And there's this surreal feeling that I'm sitting here checking in on the Voices of Esalen podcast when just 4 years ago I was sitting in an elevator operating that in a New York City building, reading about this place. So, acknowledging that. I'm feeling good today. Enjoying the calmness of the rain outside. It's my Friday, so just getting ready for my weekend. Coming off of a hectic last 2 weeks. Had a lot of family dramas pop up. And being 3,000 miles away is hard because it feels very helpless when you just want to help. My mom was hospitalized. She's home now, but that was about a week and a half of just wondering what's going on and what the doctors will say. And it's challenging being this far when my family is in New York and very used to being there to support them through hard times, and which has been a lot throughout the last 10 to 15 years of my life, my family's life. And this is the first time that I am very far away from them, which allows me an opportunity to stay grounded within myself so that I can support them the best that I can from where I'm at with what I have and all of the tools that I've learned here over the last 3 years. Check-ins like this are incredibly valuable to my everyday life. This Esalen style check-in is something that we do every day in our cabins department. It's a good way to start the day and get a read on where everyone's at, how they're feeling, what they might be going through outside of the job. Really humanizes all of us. We're not just here to do tasks, but we're here to support each other and be kind to ourselves while doing the things that we need to do. And being able to share vulnerably in a safe container is incredibly empowering to myself, to individuals. And I'm just very grateful to have gotten to experience this and to have shared space with so many people and be able to hold space for them to express themselves and be vulnerable and laugh and cry and get frustrated and mad and just be there to listen, to fully be present and listen is such an incredible gift to give and to receive. There's one staff member that always pops into my mind when I talk about a check-in, and he was here with us for about 3 months and ended his stay here and moved on to a different line of work. And on his last day, I'll never forget, in our check-in, he shared that the one thing that he wants to take with him when he leaves Esalen is this check-in. And he wants to implement that in every place that he works because of how important it is to know where your team is at, where your team members are at, and how we could best support each other through the day by just knowing how we're showing up and how we're feeling. And that is just incredibly, it just warms my heart to know that this type of sharing and vulnerability is leaving here and entering into other places because it's so important, so valuable. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Voices of Esalen. Our theme music is produced by Nico Holloman. Special thanks to our producer, Shira Levine, for the conception of this Esalen check-in episode. If you've been enjoying the show, please take a second out of your busy life to rate and review on your favorite podcast player. Yeah, that helps people discover our show. Until next time, be well.